Very good morning and greetings to you all in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I wish all the women a happy Women's Day as we are celebrating the International Women's Day today. The reflection title for this morning is Born for Such a Time as This. Born for Such a Time as This. The verse from Esther chapter 4 and verse 14. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Discerning the signs of times is something very significant that we have to keep in our mind. We tend to think what is happening around me. The same way it happened with many of the women, those who we read in the scriptures as well as we have seen in the history of the humanity. In one such example, Esther becomes an icon and a source of inspiration for all the women of this world to move beyond the comfortable zones and realize God's purpose for their life. We know the story behind and we know the context, what had happened, and the threat that was just there before the face of all the Jewish community during the time of success and in the Persian Empire. When Mordecai, as the uncle of Esther, sent a message to Esther saying that knowing the upcoming threat to the community of the Jewish people, if Esther, as she was made queen, if you remain silent at this time, the deliverance for the people of God will come from some other place. But make sure you and your father's house will also be wiped out. Who knows that you are in this royal position for such a time as this? We also need to discern the signs of times. Esther's position or context was not simply an easy one to overthrow the realities. Just some days back, when Vasti was invited by the king to appear before the royals just to exhibit her beauty, where the beauty of women was commercialized. The same way, now, when Vasti denied that invitation and neglected to come before the royals, she was removed from her position and she is no more a queen. And now again, Esther is also put in such a situation once again. Now she had to appear before the king without his invitation, which is equivalent to a suicide. But when Mordecai communicates the message, he was very clear in saying that you were born and you were brought up to this situation and this position to deal with such a time as this. Do we also realize the fact that we are born to respond to situation or time as this? It is not just that we need to keep silence and just forego things. Rather, we need to respond immediately, as Esther did. The same way as we just listened to the story of Dr. Ida Scudder, she also listened to the voice of God, the powerful voice that comes from God, which trusts her to realize that you were born to deal the situation like this. You were born for such a time as this. And she realized and moved out of her comfortable zones and with the people and served the people. Esther also did the same. She moved out of her comfortable zones, risked her life, appeared before the king, and something unexpected happened from this crazy king, and he accepted the presence of Esther, and also he granted the wish of Esther. And that is what we listen and hear from Romans chapter 8 and verse 28, that everything works good for those who love him. If we love God, we need to believe that everything works good in our life. And we need to understand this like Esther, like Ida Scudder. And especially in this day, in this International Women's Day, the call is very vivid to the women of our times to realize your lifetime commitment in the presence of God and to boldly affirm, I am born for such a time as this. Like Esther did, like Dr. Scudder did, we need to move beyond our comfortable zones to deal with this difficult times for the sake of God, God's people, and God's continuing mission in this world. May God bless us all and give us the courage to respond to the signs of times, and let us make a bold affirmation and say, I am born for such a time as this. May God bless us all and have a wonderful day.